Thank you, Mr. Mubarak. It's such a pleasure to be a part of Resurrect and the sessions that you are doing, mashallah. It's great to have youngsters listening to these sessions. I know कि इन लोगों के लिए बहुत growth or improvement का एक source है ये. And this is why we're talking about a very important topic today. And Mr. Mubarak was also interested in it, which is about who you are or um, who am I, right? When we say discovering your true inner self, we're talking about um, it's a unique blend for everybody, but there are some common ways, there are some common paths through which we can discover who we are. So before, without sounding it too mystical, I want all of you to think about how have you described yourself traditionally. So if you would all take a minute to reflect and just think about if you were asked by me or a job interviewer or a friend, who are you? What would you say to them? And if you all would like to share, I am reading the chat if you have access to the chat. So that would be great. We can see what everyone is saying. Or if you want to keep it private and you want to write with your own self, that's great as well. Okay, so you are a student. We have someone who said, Fatma Siddiqui has said, I'm a student. ठीक है, बिल्कुल. You are a student. Who else? Who are you? If I was asked this question a few years ago, I think my response would have been very different. I think I would have also said, I'm a student. We have another response. I'm Aisha Siddiqa, Pakistani girl, ठीक है, enthusiastic and passionate about my work. Great. I know, isn't it? It's such a difficult question. Um, and this is why why I brought this up is I have so many clients in therapy who, when I ask this question, they are stumped. And they are, mashallah, very intelligent individuals. Yeah, I know, right? People go blank when someone asks them this question. And this is what happens to my clients as well. And so we're talking about 18 years old, 20, 25, 30 years old people, 35 years old people. यानी कि दिन जिंदगी के इतने साल गुजार लिए and they're unable to answer this question. So isn't that really intriguing? How come we haven't answered something that is so fundamental to us? That is the essence of our being. So if if all of you have responded or thought of it, have taken a minute, I would want to talk to you about what are the common ways in which we define ourselves. है ना? So one of the ways we use, and what I found people using, is traits, right? We know in psychological terms, traits refer to, any distinguishing quality, characteristic, and usually we define that in terms of our behavior, what we do, how we act in our daily lives, something that is very unique to us, that is typical of us. So, for instance, we have words like, I'm an altruistic individual, she's a skeptical person, he is very assertive. And if we have psychology students here, okay, I hope there is not disturbance. If someone else is also experiencing disturbance, I can check if there's something wrong. Otherwise, I'll go ahead. So we talk about traits, and जो हमारे psychology students हैं, graduates हैं, आप लोगों ने किया होगा how Robert मतलब कटेल ने भी बताए हैं हमारे 16 PF trait inventories होती हैं हमारी. We talk about how personality is made up of these characteristics, है ना? Things that define us or that define our behavior. So we know that we are all a collection of traits. But the problem with defining ourselves यानी ये definition देना that I am an altruistic person, I am an assertive individual, or using any other trait to define our behavior or ourselves. The problem is that we can have two opposing or two differing traits coexist with us, right? So that means that I may have I may be friendly and temperamental. I may be generous and blunt. And the problem here is then what am I? I mean, I am both. I am not either or. I'm not black or white. So then again, we come back to square one. Who am I? I hope we are all understanding what I mean when I say this. That traits, we can have several of them. We are a collection of traits. So we can have 5, 10, 15, 16 PF तो कहता है कि 16 में से हमारा कोई ना कोई combination होता है, right? And there can be so many more. As many words are there in the dictionary. We can be high and low on those. So इसका मतलब ये है that when I sit down to describe myself in a therapy session or in a job interview or to a friend, I will start talking about how generous I am, how kind I am, how caring I am, how loving I am, how pessimistic I am, etc. etc. तो यानी कि हमें पूरे 2 घंटे चाहिए होंगे अपने आप को डिस्क्रिप्शन देने के लिए. I hope you all get what I'm saying. Right? If at any point you feel like you disagree or you have something to say, please use the chat. Right? So this is one of the problems of defining ourselves using traits. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just that it may not be the best way. So we do have traits and we do use them to define ourselves, and that's great. But like I said, there are better ways of defining yourself, of knowing yourself, of understanding yourself. है ना? So let's move on to the second one, which is roles and occupations. So this is what my clients usually refer to when I ask them, who are you? They talk about the roles or the parts they play in a certain situation, in a certain relationship, what function they have in the lives of the people they live with, in the situations they find themselves in. So if I were to ask you, yes, our perception will also be influenced by society, exactly. And I will come to that on how our roles and occupations are very much dependent on what society thinks of us. So if all of you could just take a minute and think about what roles you identify with, right? So I've listed some on the screen, but you can find others as well. So you can be, like a sister, a daughter, a wife, a mother, friend. So many things you can define yourselves through when you're talking about your roles. Or we sometimes use our occupations or our professions to define us. So like somebody here said, um, um, occupation, ठीक है, student, जैसे हम लोग यूज कर सकते हैं. I can define myself by what I'm doing at the moment, ठीक है, what I'm practicing as a therapist. I'm an employee of a certain organization, right? These are the things that I do, uh, or what I work as. Another way that falls under roles and occupations is by our degree or educational qualification. So a lot of time we define ourselves as, well, masters, I'm a double masters, or I'm a PhD, or I have a certification in fala, computer information technology or certain training. I'm a certified, etc., etc. Again, how many of you can relate to this? Or how many of you have referred to these either role or occupation or degree to refer to yourself or describe yourself? I know Fatma has. She just said, I'm a student. Yes, we have somebody raising their hand. Um, and what can, if I ask all of you, um, what commonly do you use? What roles or occupations do you use to refer to yourself? Yes, as a professional. Yeah, psych graduate. Exactly. What else? Have we used roles to define ourselves? Many times we don't define ourselves that way, but that is what we use to think of who we are. Mhm. You use pitch deck and presentation designer and a side grad, yeah. Not in usual life. Okay, that's interesting. And that's actually healthy because we need to understand how to define ourselves in different places. Topic family or social situations mein hai. That's where a role definition would be more appropriate. But overall, अगर हम बात कर रहे हैं, having a role-based definition of the self is never the healthiest way to think of yourself. है ना? For the longest time, I thought of myself as a therapist, as a clinical psychologist, or when I did my master's, I was an MPhil. I joined my PhD for a while, and then I was a PhD candidate. But that never sat well. Can we talk about why having a role or occupation based definition for the self is not the best way to define yourself? Or why is it not recommended? Yes, exactly. They're temporary. They don't represent you entirely. They keep on changing. Absolutely. That is the problem. I could just stop being, a role can end for me. Yes, I'm coming to that answer. That's why we're here. Okay, what is the best strategy to define yourself? Before we get to that, we need to talk about how we usually define us and what are the problems. There is so much more to us, and what if the relationship ends? So our role will end. Or what if the relationship changes? So our role changes. So then you're left nowhere because now you have to restart. You have to define yourself from scratch. अब नए role से नए सिरे से define करना है. Absolutely. Like Sir says here, that he was one of the biggest names in one particular industry 5 years ago, but not anymore. Now, imagine if Sir had used that to define himself, that would have left a very lasting impact on his definition of the self when he's no longer part of a certain industry. It is a very reductionist approach. And one more thing, what if you just stop enjoying doing something? What if I one day stop enjoying being a therapist or a clinical psychologist? I want to change my career. I want to change my occupation. Like maybe Sir has switched fields. Then, फिर तो बस खत्म. And then my identity is gone. I've lost it until I regain a new career, a new occupation, so on and so forth. So I hope we're all understanding what getting here. है ना? Let's move on to another common way of defining ourselves. What I've seen in my clinical practice is using morals, ethical principles, what is right, what is wrong, the standards of behavior that again society has set for us, or maybe our religion has set for us, or any other socio-economic political standard we may be following. So this refers to the shoulds, the oughts, the musts. I am a person who should be a good Muslim. I am a person who should get all A's, who should perform well, who should be there for my parents. This is more like our ought self. It's not our ideal self, it's our ought self. Agar hum humanistic technology kare, this is not we want to become. This is what we think we should become. So there's a difference. want में हमारी ख्वाहिश होती है, should में society की ख्वाहिश होती है, ठीक है, or some other larger socio-political structure या organization के imposed ideas होते हैं. So when we think about, okay, I should be kind to people, I should give charity, I should obey my parents, that is you following certain principles. That is not a reflection of who you are or what you think. I hope we're all understanding this, that morals are just what is right and what is wrong. So this might be conformity, absolutely. It's conformity, it's agreeing to the social code that is set by society, but it is not necessarily a reflection of what we think or feel. Now, for example, अगर हम political stances देख लेते हैं, we think about, there are certain, okay, I'll give you an example. There are many religious injunctions that we feel we should follow, and we do. But deep down, we may disagree. But because we're following a certain religious code, हम उस चीज को follow करते हैं. And that's a good thing. It's good to follow the religious code that you belong to. But that does not necessarily become a reflection of who you are. So, moving further, we've talked about traits, we've talked about roles and occupations, and we've talked about moral principles. है ना? These are good ways to describe yourself, but they're not the best. The better definitions of the self are what we refer to in psychology are our values and meaning and purpose. So all five of these combined can help you give a very broad, a very complete definition and picture of yourself. So if I would just take a minute to ask all of you, what do you think we mean by values? If you could just take a minute to think, what are values? What you feel strongly about? Okay. Code of living. Would others like to give their input? What you have been raised with? ठीक है. I hope the rest of the participants are thinking about this question, what our values are. Let's talk about this in detail. Our values are our sense of priorities. जैसे यहाँ पे mention हुआ था. It is our personal code of living. है ना? What we feel strongly about, हमारे personally chosen beliefs that have not been imposed on us. It is something that resonates with us, that sounds good to our ears, that we like, we prefer. Our values can be both negative, yes, your own principles, not ones that society or any other organization or religious code has imposed on you, but what you personally believe in. Now, these can be both negative and positive. So this is why I've written, yes, things you believe in. Bilkul. Things you hold to be true, things you believe in, things you feel are how, or things you place significance on. So ये positive हैं, ये constructive हैं, right? So they help you grow, they help society grow, and they make you become a better person health-wise, mentally, physically, healthy बनाते हैं आपको, right? So they all, they're not just random beliefs or random principles that you hold dearly. They have a very fundamental core है आपका ये. आपका एक fundamental role play करता है आपकी life में. ये आपका essence है. I want to ask all of you, what do you hold important in your life? Or what are domains, people, the thoughts that you give value and importance to? Now, these are really big questions, you know. ये एक घंटे में नहीं आंसर हो सकते हैं. The lives that we live, yes, but what are the lives that we are living? We need to dissect our values. ठीक है, kindness and respect. Yourself, ठीक है, cats, a partner. Professional, social, familial, virtual lives, ठीक है? But we need to talk about this. What do you value? Everybody says I value myself, but what do you value about yourself? If I can give an example while you all are thinking. Yes, your image. So many people value their physical health. So many people don't. So where do you lie? We find people who are very diet conscious, fitness conscious. Okay, for them, looking good, eating healthy is very important. That is their value. To not get sick, to not have diseases, to not be consuming medicines. Success, okay, but success is a very broad term. I want to ask you, how do you define success? Is it success in, because success can be like in everything, marital success, academic success, organizational success, and then for organizational success, maybe million other successes. You're persistent, kind, friendly, and empathetic. Okay? But those are again trait-based definitions. You're describing yourself. We're talking about the beliefs, the behaviors, एक सोच that you value. Mhm. Okay. You value academic success, academic excellence. ठीक है ना? That is a value. To excel in what you are studying, right? To not just study, but study well, right? There are, we can talk about values in terms of the causes we believe in. So if we talk about animal rights, okay, we talk about um, parenting, okay, what kind of parenting? What kind of parenting do you value? Child rearing, आपको क्या लगता है? How should teenagers be raised? ठीक है? What are the things a family should hold dear? What are the things that they should let go of? ठीक है? What do you think about the world? Politics में, what should we value? Taking care of mental health is a priority. बिल्कुल. So when you value your mental health, एक minute, when you value your mental health, then you will be focusing on activities like self-care and meditation and therapy sessions and reading and so many other things that fall under that category. Yes, because I use the word should, that might sound like it falls under morals, but you feel like it would be a good idea for everybody to hold those values, or if we hold those values, it would make the world a better place. So not should, but it would be a better idea, or it would bring about greatness or goodness in the society if that values were upheld. My value is not to hurt other people. My value is to be of help to whoever asks me. Yes, to become someone others feel good and safe to be around. Absolutely. Now that is a value. My value is cleanliness, to clean the city, to keep my country clean. My value is upholding laws and justice in the city. So then you will talk about social causes. You will speak up for them. You will protest against injustice. And these are just like a handful of examples that I am giving. So there are so many million values that people can have. ये आपको explore करने से आएगी. You will see yourselves gravitating towards some certain causes or working towards upholding something in society, and you might not be very concerned about something else. So for a lot of people, global warming and climate change, protecting the earth, protecting our planet is a priority. That's a part of their value system. So you will see them acting accordingly. But for many people, environmental consciousness is not something that is of significance. तो वो उस पे behave नहीं करेंगे. We can also talk about family. I value family time. I value protecting and caring for my family members. Parents ki khidmat karna, making sure everybody in the house is in a good mood, their mental health is okay, helping someone out. Some of my clients have made it their मतलब उनकी values का ये हिस्सा है कि helping people find jobs. So connect उनको job interviews देना, उनके CVs आगे बढ़ाते रहना, share करते रहना, there's an opening here, there's an opening there. ये उनकी जिंदगी का बहुत बड़ा हिस्सा है because they believe that it is vital to help other people. उनके हर किसी का रोजगार लगवा दें. So I hope this is giving all of you ideas कि हम किसी क्या चीज हमसे रेजोनेट करती है, मुझसे क्या चीज हो सकती है. Of course, because a lot of our values depend upon what I can do, what I am capable of doing. For a lot of people, religion, promotion of religion, ठीक है, talking about anti-religion sentiments is important. ठीक है, so your values can also be linked to causes, but एक single cause नहीं होता, वो multiple होते हैं. So I hope this has given you fuel for, you know, thought, food for thought, because you cannot find the answer abhi. This is a this is a long process. So every day you will see things and you will do things and you will get to decide in your own mind. Okay, this resonates with me. This is a part of my values. This doesn't resonate with me. So maybe I don't hold this important, right? I hope you're all following. If there are any questions, if you're scribbling something, or if this has given you a new perspective, I would love to know what you're all thinking. Can I ask all of you why we've chosen values as a reflection of our true self and not the other definitions? Any ideas? Any suggestions? Ki why this is you being used as a way to define ourselves? Yes, values guide our actions, our behaviors. Absolutely, spot on. It's related to our unconscious, okay. They shape us, yes, like a blueprint. They are what guide us. Everything else is dynamic, everything else can end, everything else can, without notice, change. Or other things are in the hands of other people. Roles, shoulds, occupations, ये बहुत dependent है society पे. If your job exists, then only will your occupation exist. आपकी कंपनी बंद हो गई तो आपकी जॉब भी नहीं रहेगी. Then what will happen to you? Or a relationship ends, you're no longer a best friend, you're no longer a brother sister में लड़ाई हो गई, then what happens? Your degree changes or is no longer of worth in the changing global landscape. फिर क्या होता है? Traits change हो गई, आपकी personality change हो गई. But only your values are consistent and they are you get to define them. They depend on you. So you're not a, a passive figure in defining yourself, or you're not relying on other people. आप खुद active role play कर रहे हैं in determining what you want to do or what you hold dear in life. Having said that, let's move to the other way to define ourselves, which is meaning and purpose. What gives your life worth? What are you working towards? And how are you making your life significant? आप ऐसा क्या कर रहे हैं that makes you wake up every morning or makes you think my life is worth living or my day is of significance because of where I'm heading? So this is a very broad, sorry, मतलब ये long term एक हमारा plan होता है. trying to make a difference in any way possible. Bilkul sir, mashallah, and this is what we see you're doing, and we can see that this is your purpose in life, bringing a change, bringing a difference in people's lives. Anything or something, बिल्कुल ठीक है. Or someday nothing. ये भी होता है बिल्कुल. Um, your dream to become a therapist, your passion for your work, and your energy to radiate positivity for others. बिल्कुल. I would choose the last one as your greater purpose in life. कि to be a source of positivity for other people. To itni positivity radiate करे कि other people are also impacted by it and respond to it. So broader meanings in life आते हैं कि raising a good family, um, promoting good social or religious values in society, helping mankind, animals भी आ जाते हैं इसमें, poor, needy, charitable लोगों की मदद करना. यानी कि एक आपकी your life should be much more than simple eating, sleeping, earning, shopping, pleasure and enjoyment. There must be more to your life because this is what defines you. Everybody scrolls Facebook, everybody watches Netflix. This is not who you are. Everybody shops and everybody spends and everybody eats and travels. But आपकी जिंदगी का मकसद क्या है? ये आपके लिए यूनिक है. And you get to decide this. So that's the beauty of it. You can choose any meaning, any purpose in life. So that when somebody asks you, who am I? You can say, I'm a person who believes in, like Sir said, making a difference in society, radiating positivity with other people, helping other people's mental health, or helping other people get jobs, making sure other people are living contented and fulfilling lives, etc., etc., etc. There is so much that can become your meaning or purpose in life. अपने वालिदैन की खिदमत करना, अपने वालिदैन को हज कराना, अपने वालिदैन को घर खरीद के देना, these are grand, but यही तो हमें एक पुश देती हैं, एक लाइफ में कुछ हम अचीव करें, कुछ करें, that is of worth. अब you might say कि I'm saving up to buy a car, ठीक है, and my own car, my first car. You're right, but जिस दिन खरीद ली फिर वो गाड़ी पुरानी हो गई, then what will happen? Then another car. It has to be grander than material, tangible things. It has to be something that makes a difference in society. पेरेंट्स को घर दिलाना बहुत बड़ी चीज होती है. खैर घर तो बहुत ही बड़ी चीज है. आई फील लाइक हम स्टूडेंट्स तो लॉट ऑफ माय स्टूडेंट्स उनके लिए पेरेंट्स को एक सेल फोन दिला देना, बाहर खाना खाने ले जा देना, ये भी है अच्छी ख्वाहिश है. एब्सोल्युटली वांट्स आर नेवर एंडिंग. द बेसिक इकोनॉमिक प्रॉब्लम जो है ना हमारा, अनलिमिटेड वांट्स एंड लिमिटेड रिसोर्सेज. The wants should never be your meaning or purpose in life. So I hope this is making some sense, or this is giving all of you a new way to look at yourself. If you can all type what you're thinking. Yes, a need driven life is always better. Um so we need to now ask ourselves कि for the longest time हम अपने आप को कैसे define कर रहे हैं. How have we been living our lives? Have we had a meaning or purpose in life so far? If we haven't, then perhaps we can start today. It's worth thinking, okay, how will this change how you live your life? How will this change how you do or think about things? Hedonistic life नहीं होनी चाहिए, यानी pleasure driven life नहीं होनी चाहिए. Anyway, that's a topic for another time. But now when somebody asks you in a job interview, this is why they ask questions. Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Where do you see yourself in 10 years? They want to see आपका ambition also, और ये के underlying what gives you reason to live, or how do you want to spend your life? I hope this is would be, a better way for all of you to answer those tricky questions. If therapy mein therapist puchega, or things happen in life that are traumatic, that are upsetting, that shake who you are, and that make you question your self-worth. So it is important to remember and keep returning to these, to your values, traits and roles and occupations पे भी return करना है. But values or meaning in life को बार बार हमें revisit करना है. और इन्हीं को use करना है to guide us. So that those existential crises that we see so many university students facing, ये एग्जिस्टेंशियल क्राइसिस तो बहुत आगे जाके आते हैं ना. एरिक एरिक्सन कहता था जनरेटिविटी वर्सेस स्टैग्नेशन. उसमें आता था कि व्हाट इज माय पर्पस इन लाइफ नाउ. जब पूरी जिंदगी गुजार ली 70-80 इयर्स में जाके ये सवाल आते थे, या 60 इयर्स और लेटर एडल्टहुड में. बट वी आर हैविंग पीपल come experiencing existential crises now. This is too early, or maybe it's not. Maybe it's just the right time. Either way, it's worth thinking about, and it's worth adding to our definition of who we are. So, a little final note. It's okay to not know who you are. It's okay to keep discovering, to keep growing. Yourself can be redefined and can be revisited, can be remodeled, as long as it is giving you a sense of fulfillment and contentment. Then you know you are on the right path of self discovery. But if there's so many questions, if there's a crisis, I don't know who I am, if you go blank, if you're unsatisfied all the time, okay, or you're using other people and situations and the media to refer to when you think about yourself, then perhaps it's a good idea to look into yourself and maybe explore this with a professional like a therapist who can guide you better, inshallah. So I hope this was helpful for all of you. I could have gone on and on and on and on, but I decided to cap it at 45 minutes so that we have ample time for question and answers or anything else that you may have. You may be thinking, any thoughts. If you agree or disagree with anything, I would love to hear. You have the floor, all of you.